What is going down, squad? We got Jason Aponte. I'm Brad Graham. We are back yet again for another 49ers State of the Franchise. And today's episode quickly changed on us, Jason, because we're going to be talking about a lot of other things, getting ready for training camp right around the corner this month. We're going to be talking about position battles, things like that. But that got turned on its head very quickly this morning with the breaking news that Baker Mayfield was traded to the Panthers. But before we dive into all that, say what's good to all the people and how are you doing today, my boy?
I'm good. Shout out to everybody tapping in. Make sure you like this video on both channels, subscribe to both channels, hit that notification bell for when we go live. The training camp stuff that we're going to be having coming to you guys is going to be off the charts, man. You guys really don't want to miss that. COVID's leaving my house. I feel a little bit better. We're good. It's almost out of here. And yeah,
They're really doing better, right? I saw her playing on the playground. Like, that's beautiful.
She's great. And that's the best part. Like, I can take all the sickness. I'm good. Averly's good. But the thing is, we did have a show planned with plenty of content that wasn't clickbaity, anything that was really like pulling things out of nowhere. And then, of course. And it always seems like Wednesday, right before our show, something happens that alters plans. So I think now what we should do, Brad, is when we plan our show for Wednesday, we should prepare for some breaking news. And we got it. So, yes, obviously the big news everybody's buzzing about and the repercussions that run through with the 49ers are the Baker Mayfield to Carolina. So, yeah, but I'm good. And I have to ask you before we get into everything. How's everything with you? How's the little one?
We're doing great. We're making great strides, just ready to get going. Obviously, when he'll be coming home kind of around training camp or a little bit after that. So pretty excited about that. But you guys do me a favor real quick. Drop all the spicy sourdoughs in the chat because you got Spicy Aponte, you got Sourdough Brad in the building. We're going to talk a lot of 49er stuff. We're going to talk a lot about Baker Mayfield. We're going to talk about the impact that has to the 49ers because it does. And I want to go ahead and start out by eating a little bit of crow here because I will have to admit, Jason, I was wrong. I think we came on here last week and I was like, there's no way. There's no way Baker's going to the Panthers. That ship has sailed. That's right. BS. That's just smoke and mirrors. Sure enough, baby. Baker Mayfield traded from the Browns this morning for a conditional 5th-round pick. I believe also the Panthers picked up half the salary of Baker Mayfield.
Cleveland's paying $10 million. Yeah, Cleveland's paying $10 million.
So with that news coming down, just what was your initial reaction when you saw the Rappaport tweet come across?
So it's funny. I had a meeting earlier today and I said, you know what? There's a little lull and things going on. I can just take a quick shower. Nothing's going to happen. Literally get out of the shower, open it up and My Sports Update, Ian Rappaport, everybody.
Every time you're like, oh, I could rest. It's like, no, breaking news.
And I look and it just says Baker Mayfield's been traded. So your first reaction is, okay, now what for Jimmy Garoppolo? And that's the repercussions that comes with this in terms of that. I can't lie. I had him pegged going to Carolina. I like the fit better. I do think he is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield, and I thought he was a good fit with Ben McAdoo. And it's really funny that he's going over there because Ben McAdoo had so many bad things to say about Baker Mayfield in his evaluation. He literally evaluated 7 quarterbacks in that draft and said they were all better than Baker Mayfield. Funny how things work around and come back around. So funny how Ben McAdoo is going to walk in and say you, and then Robbie Anderson's going to walk in and say you. Like, the both of them were very vocal with the
going to be the Spider-Man pointing gif. Right. All 3 of them just
pointing at each other. So the first initial thought is, well, good for Baker. He gets out of Cleveland and he gets his chance. He's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. I've always thought that Baker Mayfield's taken a lot more crap than he's deserved. I think he's a starting quarterback in this league, and there's nothing to scoff at that. But when you're the number 1 overall pick, that's just not good enough in many people's eyes, and that's fair. But then it turns to, now what about Jimmy Garoppolo? And how does this affect it? Because Carolina felt like the fit. Now, there's other destinations that Jimmy Garoppolo can go to, but I think the trade market now is completely done with this because Carolina felt like the only place that would be possible to trade him.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that a little bit further because I agree with you. Like, we both felt that the best fit for Jimmy Garoppolo, I think from an on-field standpoint, was the Panthers. But I think we would be doing our listeners a disservice if we didn't talk about the business aspects of football. And I think that one of the biggest things with getting Jimmy moved is that contract, right? The 27 million just kind of hanging out there. That's a lot of money to commit to a player, even though it's only 1 year. But again, a guy coming off shoulder surgery, the UCL injury in his thumb, there's unknowns there. Like, so I can rationalize why maybe they opted to go for Baker. Again, either option, Jimmy or Baker, felt like a 1 year band-aid for the Panthers because clearly Sam Darnold, they continue to make it known to the entire NFL world that Sam Darnold, they don't believe in him as a starting caliber quarterback. So Jimmy Garoppolo, Baker Mayfield seem like the natural fit. Obviously, from an on-field standpoint, both you and I recognize Jimmy Garoppolo has the shortcomings, but he also is a winning quarterback. You know, we make fun of the QB wins thing a lot, but at the same time, there are ancillary things that he brings to the table in regards to leadership, game management, getting in and out of pre and post snap. And, you know, he's got an elite release when it comes to over the middle. Now, he might misread defenses here or there in certain occasions, but we do, at least I won't speak for you, but I think he's a starting caliber quarterback in this
He
league.
is. He is.
And so it felt like a good fit. It felt like a team that needed a starting caliber quarterback. Now they opt and go for Baker Mayfield, who's younger. And I agree with you. I think Baker's taken a lot of crap because he's been on the Browns, and historically putrid franchise, top to bottom. They continue to be a putrid organization just from, I think, the business side of things. So it felt like Jimmy is like, oh, Jimmy feels like a good fit for the Panthers. But ultimately, as we sit right now, we understand what happens. So when you look at the landscape, and we've been talking about the quarterback carousel for months now. It all started with the dominoes of Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. All these dominoes fell. Are there any dominoes left standing?
I see a lot of people talking about Cleveland. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but here's why not Cleveland. A few reasons. One, it's being whispered that Deshaun Watson is not gone for the year, that he's been able to come up with an agreement with the NFL for based on time served last year, which is ridiculous in my mind. Time served last year, even though he was out with a trade request and got every single dollar. That's ridiculous.
250 million guaranteed at that.
Right. So what's being whispered about is 10 games with an appeal down to 8. Now I ask you, that's not where Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go, because they can go with Brissett for 8 and then go right to Watson. One thing that Sam Weish, who's a very respected guy in the media, pointed out today, and here is the real reason Jimmy Garoppolo, he can be traded there, but it would be very stupid of the Cleveland Browns to do, is this. Yes, if let's say Deshaun Watson goes for the entire year, his yearly salary goes off the books to next year. But what they did was they converted it to a bonus, which they have to pay regardless of any suspension, even if it's for a year. Doesn't count against the cap, but it does count as their cash that they're giving out. That's cash. $10 million for Baker Mayfield to play in Carolina. Then you trade for Jimmy Garoppolo's contract, let's just say $24 million. You are burning cash for absolutely no reason. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys. It ain't Cleveland. It ain't Cleveland. The 49ers have no real trade destinations unless they buck up and they say, Seattle, we don't care. We'll trade you in the division, which I don't suspect will happen. You don't trade in the division. Doesn't really happen. They are paying out too much in Cleveland to their quarterbacks. That's not even counting Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
So, not going to be Cleveland. There's not unless it's after a release. And let's just say $24 million for Jimmy. Let's just say the 49ers decide we'll eat 8. We'll eat 8. $16 million? Come on. Too much money. Too much money. The Watson thing, it feels like the suspension may not be as long as people anticipated, including myself. Just doesn't make sense now. Cleveland's
Yeah,
not the destination via trade. Via
I
trade, not going to happen.
absolutely. I think the biggest thing that we have to look at is again the dollar amounts. We're working with the business side of football right now in regards to all this and all the things that you laid out. I mean, I would say that Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett from a on-field standpoint, especially at least with the body of work that both have shown. But when you look at how much Jacoby is getting paid versus the amount in which you would have to send Jimmy Garoppolo over, there it becomes cost prohibitive at a certain point where you might just kind of like you said, and if Deshaun isn't getting the full year, then you got a band-aid in Jacoby Brissett, who is capable enough. They got a good enough roster around them. They're a run-first team. Again, the duo of running backs with Chubb and Hunt, Dearness Johnson still over there. 3 legit running backs, great offensive line, decent weapons on the outside, and Joku came back on the big deal. So theoretically, decent defense as well. Rising defense, actually. They got a lot of young talent on that defense. So you could rationalize like, maybe we stick with Jacoby and maybe we don't overextend even further with just kind of throwing money at the quarterback problem, right? So it kind of does feel like the Browns have been kind of taken off the list.
And let me say this. Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
He is. But the upgrade that he provides, plus the salary that he would command, is not worth the marginal upgrade that Jimmy would have over Brissett. You can win games with Jacoby Brissett. Here's the funny thing. If someone's an upgrade, you would agree that the offense would completely change shape to that upgrade, right? Well, if Jacoby Brissett is the quarterback or Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback, they're going to run the pill 40 times with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and they're going to play defense. Their offense wouldn't change. For me, giving someone 16, 17, 18, 19, maybe $1 million more than Jacoby Brissett for possibly one extra win, because you can win, let's just say Jacoby Brissett plays the entire year. You can win 8 games with Jacoby Brissett easily, right? That's a baseline. With that defense, with that coaching, with that running game, you can win 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jimmy Garoppolo goes over there and they win 9 games. And what? He's going to lift them over a stacked AFC, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Broncos, the Bills. It's just the upgrade times the money doesn't make this something that the Browns need to jump at right away. And that's the thing. And if Deshaun Watson's only gone for 8 games, 10 games, there's no way Jimmy Garoppolo goes there. None. Deshaun Watson would have to be suspended for an indefinite amount of time. That's it.
So I was pretty bullish on the thought process that, Jimmy Garoppolo is a winning quarterback. He's widely respected amongst his peers and players within the locker room. That stands for something that should translate into value for potentially another team trying to win. But as we continue to see, those spots that are available are getting sucked up. And I think we might have finally reached that point where I don't know if there's really any spots left. People have talked about Houston. Again, you have familiarity with Nick Casario, the GM who drafted Jimmy Garoppolo, but you got Davis Mills there. So, well, does that make sense? And clearly, I don't think the Houston Texans are planning on winning anything anytime soon. So, what's the move for? Is it for mentorship? Is it so? And you just kind of look around. People keep talking about Seattle. And we even have Corey saying, based on what he thinks is going to happen, he's going to be released and be picked up by Seattle. He just feels it in his bones. I don't think he's getting traded to Seattle. I know fans, are just ready to be done with it. They see Seattle as an option for a trade destination. I just cannot see it happening from the Seattle side, from the 49er side, sending compensation. eating parts of his contract. I just can't see it. Now, maybe if this occurs and he's released, maybe that happens.
Yeah.
But I don't see a trade to Seattle. And again, do you see any other teams across this NFL landscape that would trade for Jimmy at this point?
Nobody that would trade for him. And I mean, here's the thing. It's you don't trade in your division, but it has happened before.
It has.
The great Bill Belichick traded Drew Bledsoe when they got Tom Brady to the Buffalo Bills. So there's precedent, but it's not common. And I don't see that happening. This is a scenario that I could see him being released and Seattle jumping all over that. But Seattle has plans of getting a top something pick because they like CJ Stroud. They like the quarterbacks that are there. Again, you have to think about team situations. As far
Great
as Houston,
QB class next year.
Right. As far as Houston goes, Davis Mills was the second best rookie quarterback last year. Right? We can agree with that. Played better than Trevor Lawrence, played better than Justin Fields, played better than Zach Wilson.
People don't like to talk about how Davis Mills dismantled the Chargers right before the 49ers game week 18.
Right.
No one talks about that.
So let me ask you this. You bring in Jimmy Garoppolo for what? To back up the kid? Let the kid play. You figure out what Davis Mills has. You figure out if that 1 year is a fluke. You don't wreck your plans with what you got from Davis Mills for Jimmy Garoppolo. You know who you wreck your plans for? If Aaron Rodgers becomes available. If Tom Brady is available. That's who you wreck your... Sorry, Davis Mills. Aaron Rodgers is out there. We're moving on to Aaron Rodgers. You don't say, sorry, Davis Mills. Jimmy Garoppolo's out here. You can't play anymore. Like, that's the thing. Just because a quarterback is better than another quarterback doesn't mean that you will wreck your plans for him. A team that has kind of been put out there, Hobby's put it out there, a few other people have, the Giants, the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants, right? Now,
Come in and compete with Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones doesn't have a fifth-year option. They didn't pick it up.
Right.
Did not pick it up.
New regime overall, right?
So I think if you ask me what the Giants should do, a lot of what Brian Daboll's reputation is based on is what he did with Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. And that's what they brought him in for, is to see what he could do with Daniel Jones. I think it's more important to see that than it is to win a few extra games with Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, the plan. Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Daniel Jones. Yes, absolutely, 100%. But you have to see what Daniel Jones has. If it's not what you think it is, you owe him nothing because you didn't pick up his fifth-year option, and then you can go right back into the quarterback room in the draft. That's the part. So via trade, no. So this leads you to one conclusion with how this ends. You have to cut Jimmy Garoppolo. You have to. Now, do the 49ers go back on all the things they've been saying? Because at the Combine, John Lynch said, we don't trade, we don't cut good players. Kyle Shanahan said at the owners' meetings, we don't cut quarterbacks because there's teams with no quarterbacks. That's the thing. What do they do now that their backs are to the wall? Do they do what they've been saying or go against that? And I think that the only way that you can get out of this right now is you have to cut him. And when I say you have to cut him, I want Jimmy Garoppolo to have a fresh start too. That's the thing. He has to get a new start. He has to find a new team, find a new situation. This has been lingering for too long. The 49ers have been actively trying to replace Jimmy Garoppolo since the end of the Super Bowl in 2019. Fact, not my opinion. They've done it. Yes. So why do you want to keep being there? He needs a new start. He needs a fresh start. The 49ers need to just break this off, rip the Band-Aid off, and start. Everybody needs to go their separate ways. And the 49ers are very much trying to be nice to Jimmy Garoppolo and do the right thing. They don't want to send them to some horrible situation. But all the options have been exhausted at this point. That's it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look over all the quarterback lists right now, and there's just nothing that really jumps out and says, hey, we need help. Again, you can talk about, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo would perform better than Jared Goff, but we also understand what was given up for Jared Goff and the ties that organization has with Jared Goff with the Detroit Lions. You know, we have Gammon right here talking about, are the Steelers completely 100% ruled out? League-wide faith in Garoppolo might be low, but it has to be lower than Trubisky. I don't know about that. Do you see that deal that the Steelers gave Trubisky?
And Brad, we were at the combine. The name that every single person that we spoke to, any GM, coach, you would have thought Mr. Trubisky was at the combine. The league is super high on Trubisky. The league believes more in what Mitchell Trubisky can do than what Jimmy Garoppolo can do. And here's why. The league view of Jimmy Garoppolo is Kyle Shanahan squoze every little bit out of him from the toothpaste, right? Out of the toothpaste. Everything. Hit his ceiling. He's not going to a situation where he's going to have a better play caller, a guy who is more innovative in, misdirection and changing things up and getting him in good spots. No matter where he goes, it's a downgrade in coaching. And the main reason that anybody believes anything about Jimmy Garoppolo is because of Kyle Shanahan. And look, Mitch is not better than Jimmy. Fine. I'm not telling you, who cares what I think? I'm telling you what every single person at the combine said. Leslie Frazier was his defensive coordinator in Buffalo, right? Mm-hmm. Our guy, Jordan Elliott, spoke with Leslie Frazier. And, Jordan Elliott's got a meme out there about like Mitch and just it's being funny. Right. Leslie Frazier looked him dead in the face and told him Mitch is going to get the last laugh, that he was really tough to defend. Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, said that. Doesn't matter what my opinion is. I do believe that Jimmy's better than Mitch Trubisky. I would start Jimmy over Mitch Trubisky. I'm telling you, in league circles, the league perception is not the same as you or I, because they're in the league and we're just talking. That's it. I don't think that. People need to stop in the comments if you think I don't think that. The league believes that.
And this is a nuanced conversation as well, because we're talking money, we're talking age, we're talking how many more years you can go, because base value contract for Mitchell Trubisky is a 2-year contract with a base value of $14 million.
And hold on,
2 years.
If you want to do the quarterback win stuff, Mitchell Trubisky has more wins than Deshaun Watson. But we know the truth.
Is that a true stat?
It's a true stat.
Oh,
look it up.
I didn't know that.
Again, that's why QB wins are not a real stat. That's not a stat. Okay.
And we could also too rationalize that Mitchell Trubisky had a rough go with Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, and that's what people were saying around the combine, is that they would rather see if Mitchell Trubisky was held back by Matt Nagy, which a lot of people believe. I don't necessarily know if I believe that. Then they would with the fact that Jimmy's already hit his ceiling. There's not another level to Jimmy that can be unlocked. That's it. That's all. Again, not telling you that's my opinion. That was what was spoken about. Mitchell Trubisky was on the tip of every single scout, general manager, coach, anybody we spoke to. And they literally were like, Mitch is a baller. We think Mitch is going to be good. Again, it's not my thought. Not my thought. I'm telling you that I was shocked to hear so many people heaping praise on Mitchell Trubisky. You would have thought he was at the combine. 100%. And to continue on, just kind of the back end of the Mitchell Trubisky conversation, it is a 2-year, $14 million base salary, but there's $8.5 million in total incentives with a $5.25 million signing bonus. So again, in this league, when it comes to roster transaction trades, those types of things, we kind of got to take the only looking at things through an on-field lens. And we got to put our business caps on. We're businessmen right now. We got our ties on. We're going through the spreadsheets. We're crunching numbers. We're calculating things. That's what we're talking about right now. And when you look at the money given to Mitchell Trubisky by the Steelers, I'm going to go ahead and say that's 100% ruled out. I just don't see it. I just don't see it from that standpoint. They draft Pickett in the first round. So you got Mitchell Trubisky, who is fresh off of being behind Josh Allen. Clearly, people were impressed inside that building with Mitchell Trubisky. The Steelers clearly feel confident enough to give him that type of deal and draft Pickett as a kind of 1-2 combo and just see how it goes.
Mitchell Trubisky has more wins than Deshaun Watson. That doesn't make Mitchell Trubisky better than Deshaun Watson. That's just a WTF fact. That's it. It's just funny. That's it. Because people always prop up, well, the guy wins. Well, the guy wins. Well, if you apply that same logic, is Trubisky better than Watson? No. No. But Mitchell Trubisky won 10 games as soon as he started in the league, 11 games the year after. And then remember, he didn't play much. So the QB win stat is incredibly flawed. I think we just poked holes in that entire logic.
QB wins is extremely contextual, individual to each situation. So that's what I'll say about that. Gammon comes in with another one, though, kind of transitioning the conversation. I guess what we think is going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think what you and I, Jason, and through these conversations that we've had thus far, would kind of come to the conclusion that Jimmy's probably not getting traded. If you had to put a percentage, just a straight percentage, Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded right now in this time, what would that percentage be?
20% at this point.
It's actually higher than I anticipated.
I mean, it just would have to be where somebody has a freak injury or something, right?
True.
Like
yeah, which happens.
It does happen. And that's why the 49ers don't feel so pressed right away to make a move, even though, many 49er fans want this done. Let's just say, again, it has to be a team that's a fringe playoff team that would take Jimmy Garoppolo and get into the playoffs.
They need those QB wins. They need
those.
Right.
I don't want to wish this on anybody, but let's just say it's the New Orleans Saints. Let's just say Jameis Winston.
Oh, not Jameis.
I don't want that to happen. I am rooting for Jameis Winston, not just because Andrew Pasquini is a Jameis Winston.
Yes, I was about to say somewhere Pasquini just a tear just rolled down his eye.
But let's just say that happens. Do you roll with Andy Dalton or Jimmy Garoppolo? Give me Jimmy Garoppolo. And that team is a fringe playoff team. I mean, ask PFF. PFF says that they have a better roster than the San Francisco 49ers. Bet you didn't know that.
That's a rant for another day. But I agree. If I had to put a percentage chance, and again, I was someone just a week ago who was like, nah, everyone chill. Because everyone was like, oh, cut Jimmy. I was like, I'm still kind of, in the mindset, in the category of Jimmy's an asset. He's a winning quarterback. He has a pedigree. He has a proven track record. That stands for something. But at this point, there's just no spots. And when you look at the overall landscape, you look at the money, you look at it all, you look at Baker Mayfield fetching a 5th round conditional pick. I'm like, oh, well, what is Jimmy gonna get? Do we think Baker's more valuable than Jimmy at this point? At least Jimmy coming off an injury, coming off surgery, who has a long history of injuries. Almost every year that he's played, he's had an injury. So that doesn't really feel like a team would go out of their way. I think other teams are looking across the landscape, looking at the 49ers, and they're just like staring at them like, what are you going to do? You're going to trade him to us for a 7th and eat 3/4 of his contract? Or you're going to carry him all throughout training camp and then drop him again, like you said, wait for a potential injury to happen. I think what is Gammon saying right here, in the spirit of the conversation, he says, I don't see Lance being healthy all season. Maybe it's a little bit of a,
well, all right. First of all, shout out.
I don't want to put any bad juju out there either. I don't want to put that in the universe.
Shout out to the Mod Squad. Gammon checking in. I appreciate you, bro, as always, man, and appreciate your service. The disrespect to Nate Sudfeld will not stand. This will not stand any longer. Nate Sudfeld's your backup quarterback, and you will damn well like it. Wake up, honey. New Sudfeld dart. Clearly, I'm, being, funny. But yes.
I agree with you, though.
This is what feels funny, is the money that they gave Nate Sudfeld, which is guaranteed up front, screams backup money. And it doesn't scream somebody that you can just cut or leave on the practice squad. So clearly the 49ers, whether you want to say they overplayed their hand, played this wrong, whatever it is, mistakes were made on both sides. Maybe the 49ers overestimated his market. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo overestimated.
I really feel like that surgery just screwed everything. It
did.
Killed their entire window. All those teams said, you know what? We might have went after Jimmy, but We don't have time to wait. This is a right now league. This isn't a wait 3 months league. We got to make our moves now. Or else you're going to be the ones trading for Baker Mayfield. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to go out and make that happen. And I really think that surgery, from all accounts, from people we've heard inside the organization, outside the organization, ties to the organization, everything that we hear is that surgery really put a hamper on all those trade conversations. And they felt like a trade was going to happen.
Mistakes were made on both sides. That surgery cost Jimmy Garoppolo millions of dollars.
Yeah, it cost everyone, I think. I think it was, I mean, I'm not going to speculate on the motivation behind it. Obviously, we're going to call it what it is. Clearly, he needed surgery. They felt, whether it was not, something that the 49ers suggested or thought should happen or whatever. But at the end of the day, they felt it needed to be cleaned up. It got cleaned up. But that killed the window. The window slammed shut on both the 49ers and options for Jimmy Garoppolo, to now where we are here today. Jimmy Garoppolo gave his farewell to the faithful on that last press conference, and it does kind of feel like we might have Jimmy Garoppolo in training camp. But do the 49ers let Jimmy Garoppolo step on the field
You can't.
and risk that 26.9, whatever that contract number is, fully guaranteed?
You can't.
He pops an ankle, pops a knee, pops
and he's
a shoulder.
out for the year. You can't. You can't at this point. And that's why, here's the thing. Me calling for, Garoppolo to be cut right now is only because they're completely out of options. And I also want to make this very clear. Jimmy Garoppolo does deserve to go somewhere where he can succeed. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him fail wherever he goes. What's happening now is less about my opinion and what the organization has been telling you. Does it sound like you love a quarterback when you flirt with Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, Andy Dalton? You trade up to 3 to get Trey Lance. They've been trying to replace him since 2019. And here's the other thing about a pay cut. Let me ask anyone here who's ever had a job or who has a job. Your employer has hired your replacement. And then he says, I want you to take a pay cut to do the same exact thing that you were doing and more, same responsibility. You would laugh and say, absolutely not. And I don't blame Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes, until you found your next job. Job opportunity.
I don't blame Jimmy Garoppolo for not taking a pay cut at all either.
Right.
Okay?
Of course.
So
why would he?
There's a lot of things going on with this. Here's the thing about training camp too. Forget the whole, well, Travis, Baker didn't take a pay cut. Cleveland agreed to pay his money. That's different. Like, he didn't restructure the deal.
They ate part of the deal.
Cleveland ate part of the money. So the 49ers would have to eat some of the money in that way. He wouldn't take a pay cut. He's getting all his money. It's just some of it's going to come from the Browns when he wakes up and his direct deposits there. Some of it's going to come from Carolina.
Some of it's coming from a different area code. That's
right.
It.
That's it. Oh, he did. He took a $3 million pay cut? Okay. I'm mistaken. I'll take that back. Okay. $3 million. But Baker's got a lot more to prove, and people are willing to bet on what they don't know about Baker because he's younger. I appreciate that. My fault. Completely missed that one. So here's the thing too. Forget the whole if he's injured and then he can't play, right? And you gotta pay him all the money. The dynamic of having Jimmy there when his locker room is so behind him. They love him. And now he would have to sit behind, and then the whispers of, let's just say Trey has a day in camp where he throws a pick. Oh my God, you need to start Jimmy. Like, you have to take that away from the kid if you are fully behind Trey Lance. If you're fully behind Trey Lance, you have to make this move because you can't allow that discussion to be had in the background. Sure, people are going to say, well, you got rid of Jimmy for him and this is what's going on, but Jimmy won't be on the team. But if Jimmy's on the team and he's the backup, and, Trey's going to have his bumps and bruises. I think we were all at peace with that. You can't allow that conversation to fester and be behind him. You got to put Jimmy in. You got to start Jimmy. That's not good for the kid either. So this is why it's a fresh start. It needs to be a fresh start for both of them. It needs to be a fresh start for the 49ers. You need to show that you're moving right over to the kid. First off, for Jimmy, he needs to find a new place and he needs to start, because I do believe he is a starting quarterback in this league, and I will die on that hill. And a starting quarterback in this league is very valuable. Very valuable.
So I just saw a tweet from David Lombardi who says the Browns now have 48 million in cap space in 2022. So I didn't know that. For whatever reason, again, I don't follow the Browns. We don't cover the Browns. I assumed that deal with Deshaun would have eaten up a bunch, but I guess from what I'm learning from contract negotiations is you can kick a lot of cap space down the line. So just something to monitor. But in the overall kind of discussion, it does kind of feel like the options for Jimmy Garoppolo are just thin. There's just
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like there are a ton of slam dunks. Like we can officially just like put a pen in it and be like, he's going to get traded here. This is a great fit. It just feels like, again, the options and ranges of outcomes are dwindling by the day. So, again, what do you think happens when week one comes around? Week one comes around, and I'll ask everyone in the chat. So drop it in the chat. What do you think? And I'll ask, of course, you, Jason. What do you think is going to come to fruition week one for the San Francisco 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo?
He's not on this roster. I don't think that you can bring him back here, and I don't think that he should take a pay cut either. I think that's a little bit of a slap in the face, especially considering the success that he's had as the quarterback. And I think that you just – it's like a relationship, right, with your significant other. Like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And it's time for us to both move on at this point. You'll always have love for what Jimmy did. You always will. But the team has been trying to move on from him. And to carry this out another year, when you waste another year of the rookie contract that Trey Lance is on, because there's nothing more dangerous than a loaded roster with a team that's not paying their quarterback anything, especially with the cap going up. That $20-something million is going to be valuable. You know, you got to sign Debo. You got to sign Bosa. You could do both with that money and still have money left over for a midseason trade that will push your team over the top. Let's say you want to get Rams-like. You want to trade a fourth rounder for an edge rusher who has an expiring contract, something like that, somebody who can come help. It leaves you – you want that flexibility, and that's the thing. And just Jimmy needs to go somewhere else where he picks his destination, is comfortable. He deserves that at least. That's it, man. And that's it. Like, I think that Jimmy's handled this entire thing admirably. You can't really say anything bad about the way he's done things professionally. A lot of guys would have folded like Baker Mayfield did. Baker Mayfield folded after immediately when Deshaun Watson was brought up. Immediately Baker folded. Jimmy
like
didn't.
Just the conversation of it.
Right. Yeah, it's time. He deserves to go somewhere else. He's a starting quarterback in this league. I will die on this hill. He's better than a lot of people say he is, or he's better than a lot of people think he is. And I think he can help a team win. Where is that team? I don't know. And that's not for me to decide. The front office has a lot of things to think about. So it's up to them, really. That's just my opinion.
And we understand Jimmy Garoppolo, in a nutshell, has just become one of the most polarizing 49ers that we've seen in recent memory in like a really long time, in regards to you have such extreme opinions from each angle. And I think we both agree that you can take something, I guess, from both extremes, but there's so much nuance regarding what he does for the team, what he does well, what he maybe needs to improve on, things of that nature. So as you can see, I polled some of the guys on YouTube earlier, and you can kind of see where it's landed. Still 35% of the people think he's going to get traded. 26% of the people think he's going to get cut. There's still a 16% margin that believes Jimmy Garoppolo starting week one for the 49ers, and 22% are believing that he will be backing up Trey Lance week one. So there's not a clear winner here. You can see that the range of outcome it's all over the place, at least from, I guess, a fan's perspective. So obviously it's going to be something that we continue to monitor. official BNA saying Jimmy's the new Dante Johnson, a forever Niner.
No. We're not throwing strays at Dante Johnson. That's not what we're doing. You the big homie and you the man. But come on, man, Dante Johnson. We are not slandering 27. Let's not do that. We're not doing that.
Yeah, I think Dante's earned again, he's not going to be a world beater, but he's been as consistent as can be, again, surviving multiple regimes. We can't throw strays at Dante Johnson. He's earned that from us.
And shout out to everybody in the chat. We're just having discourse and we're just going back and forth. There's no personal, nothing like that, no disrespect, anything like that. Just, throwing it out there. I see Haha's comment. Haha didn't take it that way at all. Was just, I'm loud and I'm extra, so that's just how I am. I never meant it in any.
Oh, you're spicy. That's what it is.
Trying to be, but this damn whatever. I'm past COVID, but there's something else happening here. I don't know what the hell's going on. Jesus Christ. God.
It's the flu game for Jason. As we move
Joey
through.
Chestnut. Joey Chestnut had the flu game. You saw him on the stretch. He had crutches, and then he took down the protester, and then still ate all those glizzies. All those glizzies, man.
The Glizzy King.
That man right there has more titles than Jordan and Brady. Put some respect on the GOAT's name. And put some respect on that toilet that had to deal with that after as well, too. Because I had 3 hot dogs. I had 3 hot dogs on the 4th of July, and I wanted to die. Forget 56. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, I'm a big boy. I like to eat. I don't know if I could do. I can't match the Glizzy King. The Glizzy King's undefeated, so not gonna happen for me. But again, we do appreciate everyone engaging with the conversation. Again, we recognize that this is a polarizing topic in 49ers land.
It is.
What is Jimmy gonna do? Is he good? Is he bad? Is he medium? What is he? And you have extremely strong opinions on all sides.
Mavs got the best trade. Do it now. Jimmy to the Steelers for Minka, Calvin Austin in the first. Who says no? Nobody says no. Roger Goodell pushes it through. Everyone's happy. Mav, love where your head's at, buddy. Love where your head's at.
Yeah, that will never happen, but it's great to dream about. So obviously we've talked a lot about Jimmy Garoppolo. Are there any last comments, any last thoughts, predictions, anything that you want to just talk about? Because we try to talk about other things. There's 90 guys on that roster right now. Sure. But obviously we understand today is a Jimmy day because it puts back the focus of what are the 49ers going to do here? What's the outcome? What's it going to be? Any last comments, thoughts about the Jimmy Garoppolo situation?
Just when you thought you couldn't have anything else to talk about, this team always gives you something. I love covering this team. And to David's comment, Jason banned from Grant. Nope. Spoke with Grant the other day. We're good. Tried to tell you guys, but everybody wants to run with a bunch of stuff. But okay.
Hey, the vibes. Everyone likes a little drama here or there. It's it's a little bit of TMZ / 49ers world. Get a little mixed up, right? It's always fun.
I mean, it's cool. I just didn't understand where it was coming from, especially when, my relationship with him is nobody's business. I just was shocked that anyone cared. If let's just say there was beef between Grant and I, why do you guys care? I mean, that was the part that I was a little bit shocked.
People love us, Jason. That's why they care. They care because they love us.
David, you got to understand, too. Get back on Grant's show. All right. This is the last thing I'm going to say about this because there's so many comments about it all over the place, and I just let it, leaving it alone. Grant and I moved at the same exact time. And if you guys check the timeline, we hadn't really been doing shows like that because, and not for any bad reason, because we're busy, and that's it. So, I mean, we're good. Just because we're not doing shows doesn't mean anything. I talk to that man personally. So, yeah, nobody's got beef with anybody. We're good. Just because you don't see me on his show doesn't mean anything. And that's it. We're good. We talk. We have our relationship that's on the side that as friends. That's it. We're good.
Gammon coming in with a spicy.
Is that Justin's burner? Justin.
Bro, Justin got the jersey, bro. He got the jersey.
He bought a Jordan Mason jersey?
Yes. At 41,
Wow.
Jordan Mason. He's ready. He's the leader of the Jordan Mason hype train. Gaiman Brown says Jordan Mason will be RB1 by season ends,
He's got
meaning
good
not only is he
balance.
making the roster as an undrafted free agent, but he is jumping Elijah Mitchell. He is jumping Jeff Wilson. He is jumping TDP, third round draft pick. What say you on this?
Oh,
Fantasy perspective too. I mean, you can
I
look at it from that way. Is Jordan Mason a sneaky fantasy ad as well?
I wouldn't be shocked because Elijah Mitchell also came out of nowhere as a sixth rounder, and Kyle likes the hot hand whenever
He really does. Like it. Once you get into camp and once you get the pads on, it doesn't matter as long as you're
yeah.
doing your job and you're running the rock. That's it.
If he's balling, I guarantee you Kyle doesn't give a damn that you drafted Elijah Mitchell in the 5th round or that Elijah Mitchell played so well last year. If Jordan Mason is playing well and Kyle likes it, he'll play him. Wouldn't be shocked. Don't foresee it. That's the best way I can say it.
I mean, to be RB1, I think we're talking about injuries, right? That we would, yeah, and we kind of look at maybe Elijah Mitchell's rise. There were some injuries that involved and kind of allowed him to kind of take over the rock and, kind of be the RB1 for the 49ers. Jordan Mason, I think, has a real good shot at making the final 53, but I see his role kind of being that JaMychal Hasty role if he does make it. That third down, kind of, he can catch the ball out of the backfield, do a lot of things in that regard. He's a bigger back, so he's physical. I imagine he'll be stout in pass protection as well. So I kind of see him in that role. We'll see how well he does. I do have him stashed on a couple dynasties. I will say that. I'm buying the hype. The hive is buzzing. The Jordan Mason hive is buzzing. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday. I'll ask you the same question. Who's going to be the surprise to make the 53-man roster? Who's that guy that is either undrafted free agent, one of these one-year veterans that they brought in, anyone that kind of sticks out to you, like that might just sneak in and make this 53-man roster?
Donovan West.
Ooh.
I had to give love to the big boys.
Ooh, boy.
When you get signed as an undrafted free agent and you get all that money guaranteed up front, you're telling me something. You're telling me something. So, yeah, I'm going to say Donovan West. Center. Jake Brendel looks like, by all accounts, the incumbent center. Like, he's going to be the center. Like, that's
he looks
where
like he's
is.
in great shape, by the way.
Oh, man. I saw the workout videos, man. Like, he's cooking.
I was impressed. I mean,
he's cooking.
It's workout season that he was doing. It's workout season, but just like everything, right? We know how to evaluate workouts. We know how to evaluate guys going up against air. We know how to evaluate guys in shells, and we know how to evaluate guys in pads. There's context for everything.
Yep.
Doesn't mean he's going to be an all-pro because he can balance really well. It just means like
Donovan West is my spicy take. Maybe that'll change in training camp. Leon O'Neal looks like he is trying to beat the world in every single workout, and you love to see that. You love to see that. But as of right now, feasible things, and again, a lot of people have questions about the offensive line. I wouldn't say that they're not deep. I just think that they're unproven, and there's a difference. Right. Like, they've got guys who have played. Cole McKivitz in a pinch played his best game of his life for the first time at left tackle, right before the playoffs in week 18. I just think that there's a lot of guys here. They fit. They're unproven. I wouldn't say they're not deep. And I don't even know if, maybe that makes sense or it doesn't, but I'm not as concerned with the offensive line as many people are. So,
yeah, I'm right there with you. I brought up the point not too long ago on Twitter. Like, the 49ers made a deep-ass run, almost won the Super Bowl, with Ben Garland taking significant snaps at center. Mike Person starting the entire year at right guard.
Mike Person and Garland are catching strays now too. Like, come on, man.
Well, I'm not downgrading them. I'm just saying, when we look at the overall scope, Daniel Brunskill got his first run, multiple starts that year. Justin School as a rookie, got multiple starts that year. That offensive line was hurt. Joe Staley was out. Like, everyone went out on that O-line pretty much outside of Laken Tomlinson because, hey, Laken Tomlinson doesn't go down. So there was a lot of shifting with that offensive line. But if you go back to 2019, 49ers were dominant on the run, in the run game. And that's how they made it to the I don't want to bring up any.
By the way,
scars.
no. By the way, no. You've already brought it up, and whatever. We're scarred. No, you brought it up.
We're scarred. It's if you're a 49er fan, you're scarred. Like, if you're a true 49er fan, the scars are there.
Did anyone see the NFL on CBS tweet?
Which one was that?
It's a picture of Emmanuel Sanders running the ball thrown over his head.
Oh, yes. I know.
My first question when I saw that tweet come across was, why?
It's got to be a Seattle fan running that account.
And then you're crying in the club by yourself in the dark at like 12 o'clock. But I just find it funny that people brought that up, and then the comments were electric.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the pandemic doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But one thing that I will say is this. If the 49ers finish that Super Bowl, 2 quarterbacks' trajectories completely change.
Oh, my gosh.
Ready? Patrick Mahomes, can he ever get it done? Oh, he didn't get it done. When Jimmy Garoppolo wins the big one, do they ever make the move to
the next Tom Brady? That whole Tom Brady saga doesn't happen. The conversations don't even happen.
Very
2020, if the 49ers have that same, no one cares because we're fat and happy hoisting Lombardi. We don't care.
Very interesting. 2 quarterbacks' legacies completely go different ways.
Dude.
Jimmy Garoppolo does not leave. There's never any Trey Lance move, anything like that. I don't feel that that's because they won the Super Bowl. And does Patrick Mahomes get remembered as the guy who just couldn't get it done after lighting the world on fire, man? A 1 quarter of football has completely sent one guy this way and sent the other guy this way.
It's like the butterfly effect, right?
It's
like one thing
100%.
just fractures reality. It fractures
100%.
the simulation. Like, oh, things go a crazy way. Michael coming in with a bold starting O-line prediction. Left tackle Trent Williams, left guard Aaron Banks, center Jake Brendel, right guard Chasen Poe, right tackle Mike McGlinchey. Thoughts?
The Daniel Brunskill slander is out of control. How dare you, Daddy Brunskill? Daddy Brunskill. No, look, that's not a crazy sentiment, Michael. It's not. Kyle just tends to like the experience more than the potential. If he gets pushed into a spot where he has to go to a guy, Jason Poe's not a bad backup because he's so versatile. He can do everything. I loved what I saw from him on film. And then the guy like can lift everything, can run fast. Like he's incredible. And then think about the things that Kyle can scheme up for him. I think they're going to start Brunskill. But that's not me taking a shot at you or anything like that. But it's just like Daniel Brunskill and this is something that I've said a bunch of times. We know that, this is a pro Brunskill program.
Definitely. A great friend of the program.
When you think about him coming from the USFL, what you've gotten for him, what you've gotten from him, he's insane value. Insane value. Yeah. Even if you want to say that Daniel Brunskill is an average, solid starter, think about where you got him and what you invested in him. That is value. And not everybody's a superstar at this level.
He was one of the lowest paid. He was one of the lowest paid 49ers last year, making $800,000.
And at right guard. Like
owning Aaron Donald.
Right. It's become a meme.
His claim to fame. Yes.
So yeah, it's a lot of people are so quick to say, well, he's average. Where did you get him? Did you draft him in the first round? And did you get an average running right guard? Or did you get a guy from the USFL and got a ton of run from him at different positions?
He's one of the best. He's one of the best value players of Kyle Shanahan's era.
100%.
When you look at it from that standpoint.
100%.
But I get it. A lot of people want to see different things. We'll see. we're gonna be watching that offensive line. Jason Poe, I think, is a phenomenal athlete for his size. He does profile to me as center. Again, putting a 6'1" guy kind of in that guard hole, going up against 6'7", 6'8" defensive tackles, defensive ends kicking inside. That just feels like a mismatch that I don't know if I'm ready for. I have much more comfortability with having a 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" offensive lineman at center because leverage and those types of things you can control a little better. When you're going up against nose tackles and things like that, it's a little bit easier to dig out. You get better pad level in those regards, and you're working a lot in tandem with the guards, and you can get help, or you're helping. When you get into that guard position, you're asking a guy to play on an island a lot, and I don't know yet. We got to get to camp. I'm not going to make any evaluations because we haven't seen it yet. That's what I want to see. When I think Poe, I talk about it all the time. When you saw Jeff Wilson in that kind of hybrid H-back role and he's motioning across the formation, I would love to see Poe in that because he is a phenomenal puller. One of the better pullers I've ever seen on tape, to be honest, with the speed, the leverage, and how quickly he gets to his spot. It's beautiful. But I want to see how he manages life in the NFL against twitched up 6'6" defensive tackles with an entire bag of pass rush moves that aren't only bigger and stronger than you, but they are technically polished. Yes. And that's a different world coming from Mercer. Now, same on the flip side, he played phenomenally well against Alabama.
He did.
That was his big claim to fame. And you got to see, like, all right, he's taking down NFL prospects right now. So you can see and project that to the NFL. But that's one of the things I'm going to be looking for in camp. I just want to see how he handles Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Hassan Ridgeway, those types of guys. And if he can do it, fire up the hype train, baby, because he's working with Trent Williams, more hype train. He's working with Trent Williams right now. Him and Burford are out there in Texas with the GOAT, Trent Williams. So Trent seemingly has taken a liking to the undrafted free agent. So I can't wait. I think the competition between West and Poe is going to be legit. I think the competition between center, guard, each guard spots, I don't think it's just I could be, the purist in me believes competition exists at every level. But I also understand, where were you drafted? How much you getting paid? Those do play factors into who gets a spot or who gets a push into a spot. Ultimately, you have to perform, but we're going to find out. What do you say? If it's brown, flush it.
No, not that one. The newest one at 529, man. That was pretty good too, actually, man. He's like been the MVP in the chat so far. But I married the head cheerleader. There is no upgrade out there.
So,
but that's, look, and training camp is 20 short days away. My ginger bearded friend, can't wait to see you, and can't wait to, get this camp content out there and talk about what we've seen.
Yes. Do some evaluation. That's what I'm looking for.
The offensive line is really where I'm at with competition, right? And it seems like Hufanga's got the strong safety locked up. They want to see him in that role, for better or worse. Doesn't matter how you feel. And the offensive line is the only one that really could potentially have shakeups. Oh, when are you coming out for the – so 26th is when they report. 27th is the first day of camp. The 26th is when I'm going to pull up to the Bay Area. The 27th will be there for the first day of camp. So I can't wait. I cannot wait, man. I got to get out of this house. I have to get out of this area. I live so close to MetLife Stadium. I think the vibes from how bad the Giants and Jets are just like permeating on me, like from afar somehow. Like I could walk to MetLife. That's how close I am to them. I got to get out there. I gotta smell that Cali air. I gotta hear that music playing. I gotta watch those rookies do those dances, man. I can't wait. Last year was a blast. This year we're just gonna take it up to another level, man.
Hell yeah, we're ready. Oh,
Yes.
we're chomping at the bit. And again, the biggest thing is the football. We want to watch the football. We want to evaluate the football and come back and report what we've seen, who's standing out, who's not.
Not hypotheticals, not what we think
No,
is gonna
not
happen,
we're
not
not going to be charting completions and interceptions, and it's
I might.
practice.
I might. I might. A lot of
Jason's
people
like, I've seen those numbers on Twitter.
last year.
I might.
Yeah, last year I got a lot of engagement just throwing out there. Hey, Trey Lance did this, and I don't know, man. I don't know, right? I think
You
I'm
know,
definitely
that's a
gonna do
good
it.
point. That's a good point. We are in the content biz. I'll leave that up to you. I'll keep my eyes on the field. I'm not a big math guy, anyways. I start seeing those numbers,
Well,
they start blending together. I'm like,
you
I
watch
watch the
what's
O
important,
line anyways.
right?
I'm not
Yeah,
like checking off boxes like,
it's
oh,
Biggie
this is
said
how many
spreadsheet.
receptions we got.
It's
Yeah.
Biggie said spreadsheet. But you watch O line. You watch O line. I'll watch my receivers. I'll watch the quarterback. Those are the things I'm passionate about. Secondary, maybe a little bit, but yeah, everybody wants to know. Look, no matter how you feel, there's important things going on with this team. Everybody wants to know how Trey Lance is looking if he's taking the first reps with the first team against the first defense. And I'm not gonna lie, man, I'm a sucker for content engagement and the things that people want to see. So
We all are, Jason. And who knows? Maybe after a couple days, I'll be charting O-line reps. Who knows?
next state of the franchise, Trey Lance versus Jimmy Garoppolo stats. Like it's just, oh my goodness, man. You know, a lot of people.
So we can't rule anything out. We can't.
Right.
That's a mistake. We'll never rule out any forms of content.
Right, and a lot
of
of people have us twisted. Maybe I've said something, in a different stream, something like that. But if Jimmy Garoppolo is at camp and, let's just say Kyle wakes up one day and he says there's an outright quarterback competition. That's amazing for content. Incredible. That is absolutely what everybody's going to want to hear, man. And it's literally like the wedding singer when John Lovitz is like, he's losing his mind and I'm reaping all the benefits. Yeah, exactly. And that would be us. That would be us. As much as it would be frustrating for some to see Jimmy Garoppolo show up to camp, if there was some sort of outright competition, please have yourself glued to the content because that's the only way you're going to figure out who's doing what.
Honestly, like it would be the most entertaining training camp ever because last year I was like, oh, it's a secret quarterback competition. Like they're Trey, like they're putting all the ones on with the wide receivers and George Kittle. They're putting him with the second group, but they're playing him behind the second offensive line. So it's like they're getting him warmed up with the outside pieces, but we understand ones is behind the first offensive line always. I mean, they kind of alluded to it. We'll figure it out. But if they were to go into a all-out camp, both quarterbacks getting equal reps with the ones, whoo, put your hat on, baby.
It's Miggy again with another great comment. Purdy versus Pasquini for quarterback 3 should be a good watch. Stop sleeping on my guy. And if you did a pro day after Andrew did it, make sure you say thank you to Andrew. I wish he had better receivers.
Absolutely. Yeah, he needed a better center too. Oh wait, no.
Man.
Who was the center? I don't know. Anyways, we appreciate everyone tapping in for the State of the Franchise episode with the 49ers. Obviously, big news today. Baker Mayfield gets traded to the Panthers. What does that mean for Jimmy Garoppolo? Obviously, we just broke it all down. If you're just joining us, go back, listen to it. Make sure you are smashing the like button on both these channels as we do our dual stream. Jason, where can the good people here find more of your content?
Right here on Twitter is where you can find me posting silly memes and things like that. Got a show coming up later on with Leo and Steph. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, popping out with some content. Obviously, there's stuff to talk about. Make sure that you guys are subscribed to Niners Nation podcast. A new Oh Hey There just came out where I had some kind of spicy things to say about former GOAT players talking about Trey Lance. Brad got a little taste of it.
I like that.
Wasn't exactly the entire rant, but if you guys want to hear that, that's anywhere that you get your audio podcast. Niners Nation. Oh, hey there with Leo Luna. That's a lot of fun as well too. But yeah, we're getting closer to camp, getting closer to more content. So make sure you guys are subscribed to both of us. Make sure that you guys are hitting that notification bell for when we go live, because once we get out of camp, we are going to just like go right to the room and just boom, turn on the cameras and talk about what we need to talk about. So yeah, man, I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, it's going to be legendary. So make sure we'll probably be doing episodes up until training camp, and then once training camp hits, it's going to be live. So appreciate everyone tapping in, appreciate everyone watching, subscribing, liking, doing all the good stuff, engaging in the comments. We appreciate all the SDS and the Spicy Squad. Make sure you're subbing to both channels, doing all that good stuff. Again, we truly do appreciate it. But until next time, Jason, Brad, we out. Later.